Hello and welcome back to Psychology with me, Mr. Snyder. Today we are diving into development again, and we're going to talk about a child's social development. We've hit up what development psychology is. We've hit up their physical growth and physical development. Today it's going to be social development. Your learning targets, there's 4. I can't guarantee this will be a shorter section, but it is important. Identify why attachment is important in human relationships. List and describe the different styles of parenting. Analyze the issues associated with child abuse and neglect, and analyze how outside child care and self-esteem can affect a child's development. So let's not waste any more time. Attachment is a very important factor that affects social development. It is the emotional ties that form between two people. Obviously, the parents will be the first people that the child forms attachment with. But up until the age of 4 months, infants just prefer being held at all, like with anybody. But then around 4 months, infants begin developing an attachment to their primary caregivers, usually their mothers. And then at about 8 months, even with people they were comfortable with before, some infants develop stranger anxiety, which is they don't like being around people they don't know, and separation anxiety, which they don't like being away from their mothers. Even if their mother is just sitting across the room, that gives them anxiety, and they don't like that. They'll begin to cry and get scared until they are able to be with their mothers again. They have done experiments on attachment and contact comfort with monkeys, and I'll just let this video explain all about that.
Let me show you a monkey raised on a nursing wire mother. Now here are 106's 2 mothers. As you can see, it was weaned on a wire mother. Here's baby 106. Watch.
He's going to the wire mother.
He's got to eat to live.
Oh, he's going back.
He's back on the cloth mother, and he'll stay on the cloth mother. Actually, this baby spends from 17 to 18 hours a day on the cloth mother and less than 1 hour a day on the wire mother. We had predicted that the variable of contact comfort would be a variable of measurable importance, but we were unprepared to find that it completely overwhelmed and overshadowed all other variables, including those of nursing.
Frankly, Doctor, if it comes to a choice between wire and cloth, it's reasonable to expect that any child will go to the cloth. It's a matter of creature comfort, like a baby with its blanket. But is this really love?
Well, what do you mean by saying that a baby loves its mother? Certainly one thing we mean is that it gets a great feeling of security in the presence of the mother. Now, Mr. Collingwood, wouldn't you say that if you frightened a baby, that it went running to its mother, was comforted, and then all the fear disappeared and was replaced by a complete sense of security that that baby loved its mother? Now, in this experiment, this is the apparatus we use.
That looks diabolical.
That's just the way the baby monkey feels about it. Flashing eyes, loud sounds, moving mechanical parts, all of these things are designed to frighten a monkey. Now here we have a peaceful, resting baby monkey. Let's find out what his reactions to his mother are when we frighten him.
He's scared, all right.
And does what any child will do in a similar situation.
He runs away.
It's more than running away. He was running to his mother, to touch her, to drive away his fear. Contact with the mother changes his entire personality. Look, now he's actually threatening the diabolical object. All right. This gives us part of the picture of the strength of infantile love. This is a 6-foot square room with a few toys and other objects. But to the monkey, it's much more menacing. We know that when our own children are taken to a strange place without their mothers, they are often overwhelmed with fear. This room is just such a new and strange environment for the baby monkeys. No mother is in there. Now, let's put a monkey into the room. Notice how cautiously he enters the room. He's searching for comfort, but nothing relieves his disturbance. Now we'll take the baby monkey out and put in a wire mother.
Now, this one was nursed by a wire mother.
That's right, all his life.
She doesn't seem to help much.
Now, we'll try the same test with a cloth mother in the room. You see the contrast in the behavior? Despite the fact that the wire mother nursed him, she could offer this infant nothing in the way of affection or security. But here the monkey, by rubbing against the cloth mother, as if he were seeking as much contact comfort as he could get, builds up his reservoir of affection and security. First, his body relaxes as the fear disappears. But above and beyond this, new positive response patterns appear. He now goes out to explore and investigate this new, strange world. He is now a normal, happy, curious baby.
Some animals imprint. Attachment is an instinct to them. That's why they will see the first thing they usually see is their mother, and they will become attached to the first moving object they see. Children obviously do not imprint. It takes several months before the child becomes attached to their main giver. But with a lot of animals and vampires, imprinting is habitual. They do it as the first thing that they see. Secure versus insecure attachment, and this all comes from the style of parenting. When mothers are affectionate and reliable for their children, infants become securely attached. When caregivers tend to be unresponsive or unreliable, infants are usually insecurely attached, and they may have development problems later on, and we'll get into that in a second. Secure infants are the people who more than likely will mature into secure children. Autism actually fits in well here because autism is a developmental disorder that prevents children from forming proper relationships with other people. And people with autism, it's a very wide spectrum. It can go from very severe to very subtle. And parents and doctors often recognize the symptoms of autism. If you've ever spoken with someone with autism, they don't really know how to act. They're fine intelligence-wise. They know things. They can talk to you, but they're just not really sure about how to form social attachments with other people. And again, it can be from very severe to very mild. So autism is a social disorder. Styles of parenting. There's two continuums here. So we have warm or cold and strict or permissive. Warm parents show great deals of affection to their children. Cold parents are not as affectionate to their kids and then appear not even to enjoy them as much. And it's not that one way is right or wrong, it's just different styles of parenting. Different does not always mean worse. Children of warm parents are more likely to be well adjusted, however, and research suggests that children fare better when their parents are warm to them. And then we have strict or permissive, and that's exactly how it sounds. Some parents are very strict with their children, supervising them very closely, imposing many rules over them. Some parents are less strict and they're more permissive. They impose fewer rules and watch their children less closely and let their children kind of learn on their own. And there's also something called helicopter parenting, which a lot of parents today are guilty of. They let their children try something until they fail, and then they swoop in like a helicopter to save them from that failure. And failure is a very, very important part of growing and developing. And then there's two words with just a couple letters difference, so it's going to be hard to memorize them. But authoritative parents are the ones that combine age-appropriate rules with warmth and responsibility. And so they give rules to the kids, and they also explain why the rules are the rules, whereas an authoritarian parent believe these are the rules because I say so, and I don't have to give you a reason why, and they believe in obedience for obedience's sake. Here are some adjectives that you would use to describe somebody who is strict or permissive or cold or warm. So just kind of look at this and think, what kind of person you are. Maybe you can see what kind of person your parents are and the style of their parenting. Child abuse and neglect. Most parents are very kind and loving to their children, but child abuse is widespread and underreported. The following factors, these are the ones you need to know, are associated with child abuse and neglect. Stress. If it's from unemployment or poverty, usually in times of a recession, child abuse reports go up. A history of physical or sexual abuse in at least one parent's family, the acceptance of violence as a way of coping with stress, lack of attachment between the parent and the child, substance abuse is a big factor, and rigid attitudes about child rearing. Rigid meaning more traditional, like it is okay to hit a child. Studies show that children who are abused run a very high risk of developing psychological problems later in life, and child abuse tends to run in families. And I think it's important here to go over child abuse is actually physically hurting the child, and child neglect is not giving things the child needs, like proper clothing, proper shelter, proper diet, anything like that could be considered neglect. Child care has become a big psychological topic in the past 30 or 40 years because most American parents, both the mom and the dad, work outside the home, and more than half of mothers of children younger than 1 year of age are working mothers. They can't afford to stay home past maternity leave and take care of their child. There are millions of preschoolers in daycare facilities out there, but studies of the effects of daycare on parent-child attachments have shown mixed results. But basically what you need to know about child care is that the quality of the care involved is more important than who provides it. So a child care center that gives good child care is better than a mother who stays at home and ignores her child. Self-esteem is the value or worth that people attach to themselves, and that develops in early childhood. Influences are secure attachment, gives higher self-esteem. Another influence is how parents react to their children. If they praise their children for doing a good job, then child's self-esteem goes up. And that is unconditional positive regard. So no matter what the child does, even if the child fails at something, you still give the child praise for what they did and trying, and they will still develop high self-esteem. Conditional positive regard is you only give them praise when they do something good. And then the child might turn into a people pleaser or always trying to please their parents to get attention, and that could lead to lower self-esteem about one's self-esteem. Gender, girls tend to display greater competence in reading and general academic skills, and boys tend to display greater competence in math and physical skills. And this is not for a genetic reason, but it could be even more for it's more nurture. It's more because what boys and girls are supposed to be good at. And that starts to develop around 4th or 5th grade. Girls can keep up with math and physical skills with boys. Girls even begin to mature earlier than boys. And then during middle school, it's not cool for a girl to be good at math anymore. And that's just, it's kind of a subliminal message that society gives us. Right or not, it's not right, but society tells us that, and girls start to not be very good at math and start to take interest in other things around middle school. I think you know what I'm talking about. And self-esteem tends to decline. It's high when a child is young. It tends to decline during elementary school years and reach a low point about 12 or 13. You know, those awkward middle school years when everybody's unsure of themselves, no matter how outwardly positive they may be. And it then begins to increase during when you're trying to find your identity during adolescence. And we can't fall into the self-esteem trap. In the 70s, we thought that if we praised children for everything, regardless of their performance, it would raise their self-esteem and everyone would be happy and we'd have a great society. But high self-esteem in children does not necessarily lead to higher grades, and high self-esteem does not make violent kids less violent or prevent people from becoming bullies. So focusing on building self-esteem at the expense of other qualities does not lead to a well-rounded person. Self-esteem needs to be thought of as a whole-style care for a person. And that is all we have for today. I will let you go and make sure you got all your sub-targets checked off, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice night.